All right, getting straight into it. Thanks for being here for another project of mine. Today we'll be making a arch, empty arch, out of plywood. So I'm using 1/2 inch plywood here, and right now I'm taking the long edge of it so that I can, create the actual piece. But I made a mistake, so I cut it without consulting my wife, which was a mental error of mine, and it was too short, basically in width. So I had to put the piece back, and to do that, I had to clean up these edges. So what I'm doing is I'm putting down clamps, weights, and the factory edge, and I'm going to use a router to clean up the edge that I just cut, so that it can be joined back together later. And so there's ways to join it. You can do mechanical joining, you can do glue, you can et cetera, but you just gotta clean it up as best as you can. And so that's what I did. And you can see that seam over to the left side of the screen right there. Just pay attention to the marker. What I did then was to create the actual arch part. I used a circle jig that I made at home. This was just nothing too fancy, just enough to get the job done. So I used a nail, the weight as a center of mass in the middle, and just rotated this thing down progressively, getting lower and lower and lower. And so from these shots, you can see that, I essentially accomplished that, getting lower towards the other end of the wood. So thin that I can actually take a utility knife and cut through the last portions of the plywood. Now I'm doing the inner part of the arch, so that it gets cleaned up as well and can match as best as possible. So now it's time to get the inner part of the long pieces of the arch. So I use the jigsaw again, rinse, wash, and repeat some of that, those methods that you saw before, cleaning up the inside of the arch with a flush trim bit on the router. Now you take a straight edge. I had some oak, some red oak that are white oak. I don't remember. I'll get better with my woods over time, but the wood species that is over time. And so I'm using that as a template to go ahead and use the flush trim bit again and clean things up. When it gets windy outside, you gotta watch out. You never know what happened to all the sawdust. I'm taking the red oak again and I'm applying that to the outer edge of the plywood as well. So I positioned the clamp a little bit too far down. I wasn't able to complete the cut, so I just moved it and finished it off. Very easy. When it's time to sand, you just do it like anybody else. Just sand off the rough edges so that you're not giving anyone splinters when you're moving this thing. Now it's time to make the legs. And so I used some excess wood that I had from creating the curves, and I cut those down into triangles using my jigsaw. As you can see, I use my weights a lot. So I have this big hexagon missing out of the actual leg, and that is for this to accommodate the space of my dumbbell so I can keep it down real nicely. So I'm going for Summer Madness vibes right here. And so hopefully you can see just how fancy this is. It's so fancy, ridiculously fancy. Look at this editing. This is Christopher Nolan. Anyway, we're getting back to where we need to put the hinges on, and you can see that I have another plank of plywood down on the hinge as well as the triangle leg. And so that's so that I don't go through the thickness, and I'm also using washers because I just didn't have a perfect set of nails for this job, so I just had to accommodate. So make sure that you never go through the wood. Don't use a nail or obviously a screw that is going to far exceed the thickness of your wood. Right now I'm priming. That is a very important step when you paint. I think that you should always prime before you paint because it just gives you less work to do in the long term. What we're going for here is a baby yellow. This is a kid's birthday party that we're commissioned for. And so I think I'm rolling this thing like them 24-inch rims back in the day. We were circa 2004. I'm doing my thing right here. Just kidding. But yeah, rolling is a lot. There's a debate on this. See, rolling could get the job done a lot quicker in some aspects than spraying because it puts the paint down a lot faster. And so I have essentially subscribed to rolling recently. I've been a paint sprayer dude, but I'm rolling now until I get a finished product, like a really nice finished product I want. Limelight hydrangeas doing their thing. Let's see the finished product here. All right, so it's a good beginner level project, I think. And we're gonna commission this for a wonderful birthday party, like I said. And so here it is. My wife did the balloon setup. She crushed it like always. And I hope you like the way this looks. And if you have any questions, you like this video at all, you like what you see here, please consider subscribing. See you next time.